Take a slow breath. Most people carry a quiet, chronic exhaustion, the weight of constantly anticipating outcomes and trying to hold their world together. For just a moment, give yourself permission to set that weight down. This is a story about the traveler. He serves as a mirror for a universal human search, the quest to find a definitive, permanent feeling of security. The traveler lived by a specific equation, believing that safety was a destination reached through external variables. He thought that if he secured the right career, the right partner, and a predictable future, he would finally be at peace. Tethering a sense of security to factors outside of one's control builds a network of fragile dependencies, leaving us deeply vulnerable the moment those external conditions shift. For brief windows of time, the world aligned with his plans, and he felt a temporary sense of relief. But change is the organic reality of life. People will evolve, circumstances will shift, and dreams will pivot, often without warning or permission. His first instinct was to grip tighter. He tried to outthink uncertainty by over-preparing and obsessively trying to prevent every possible negative outcome. This struggle eventually led him to a critical question. If the outside world is inherently unstable and cannot guarantee security, where is true safety actually found? Attempting to prevent uncertainty is a mathematically impossible strategy that results in chronic anxiety rather than protection from pain. During a particularly difficult season, a winter where his external plans and shelters had entirely collapsed, the traveler was forced to sit with the silence of his own presence. In the absence of external guarantees, he noticed a single variable that had survived every past disruption in his life. This timeline maps a historical record of survival that he had long ignored.
The volatile spikes represent every crisis that felt like the end of the road. But that unbroken horizontal line represents the traveler himself. He was the one who showed up to every heartbreak, learned from every failure, and found the strength to continue, proving a resilience more stable than any external plan. Humans often underestimate their own historical track record of survival, while placing a disproportionate amount of trust in fragile external guarantees. We often define safety as a sterile environment, a life free of difficulty, risk, or pain. A more sustainable paradigm defines safety as the trusted capacity to meet and adapt to difficulty when it arrives. Shifting away from the search for absolute certainty allows for the development of self-trust, specifically trusting in one's own ability to heal and begin again after a collapse. Emotional security depends less on engineering perfect circumstances and more on repairing the adversarial relationship we often have with ourselves. The traveler began the active work of constructing an inner home. This is a psychological space where mistakes are met with understanding and where belonging is a given, not something to be earned. This construction requires a mechanical shift in internal dialogue. When things go wrong, the goal is to move from an instinct of panic toward an instinct of support. This model contrasts two types of inquiry. On one side, we have jagged shapes of panicked questions, like, why am I struggling? On the other are interlocking blocks of supportive questions, like, what do I need right now? These act as foundational bricks. Each compassionate answer builds a base of emotional resilience, forming a psychological structure that remains intact regardless of external circumstances. Self-compassion functions as an active, structural defense, providing the internal framework necessary to withstand external chaos. The safest people are those who have learned how to stay present and sit with themselves when fear arrives. Strength is found in the ability to care for oneself while putting the pieces back together after a fall. The traveler realized he no longer needed to search for a permanent shelter in the outside world because he was already carrying one within his own heart. Life will always contain uncertainty, but you never have to face that uncertainty alone when you have built a safe place within yourself. Developing the ability to come home to yourself again and again creates a foundation of kindness and self-trust that can meet any challenge life presents.